What's up, everybody? I'm John Middlekauff. You know what I need you to do. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got content for days reacting to every NFL game all the time, every single day. Subscribe, like the videos. Let's go.
Who do you think right now? Because in college football, so many new quarterbacks. Like the top 25, Texas, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, Miami, all have new quarterbacks. Miami, Oklahoma, some transfers. But when you look at this season, it seems like this year there's a lot of guys that have stayed a lot of years, that have not transferred to other schools. Like a couple years ago, it was the Final Four were all transfer quarterbacks. Heisman was all transfers. This year just seems like a bunch of older guys, Klubnik, Allar, Nussmeier. Like, who in your opinion, like, who is the best returning quarterback that you're like, all right, that guy could be a dude to watch out for that could lead to a national championship?
Yeah, I want it to be Allar, but it's just hard to that throw across his body, and you just watch him on a week-in, week-out basis can be a little hit or miss. To me, Nussmeier, that second half against Texas A&M, he's a really good player, but it's like kind of Cousins-y vibes, I would say. Again, solid, but like number one overall. The Lagway, you watch that SEC Netflix show, I mean, the guy's a big-time talent, you know, and they got a lot of hype coming in. They have a schedule that's pretty crazy. To me, Sellers is intriguing, but to me, he's a little bit more of like, okay, let's just see, you know, that kind of style of playing quarterback. To me, Lagway is what like pops. Like if you're talking number one, if they all play at a high level, it's like that guy's the number one overall pick, right? I think Allar's one of those guys that probably gets drafted higher than people like, wait, he got drafted where? Now, his team's going to be good. He's going to win a ton of games during his college career, but he can just be a little bit of a wild card. Now, their two running backs are going to be sweet. But I think that crew of guys, and I was texting with a scouting buddy that went through Oklahoma. I'm like, is John Mateer like up with these top guys? He's like, just based on practice, I think a little overhyped, good player, but he's going to have a lot of people paying attention to him, right? Like Arch in that rivalry, like Arch gets 99%, but Mateer, like some people are saying he's going to win the Heisman. People think Oklahoma could be a sleeper team. So I think what's cool, and this is why football is such a big deal now, the NFL, they have a bunch of quarterbacks, right? College football, this is why college football has separated from college basketball. The first time I went on Colin's show, Rick Pitino came on, and he's like, it wasn't that long ago. I remember in the 90s when we were all equals. College basketball, college football, the NFL, the NBA. And I was like, I agree. That's what I grew up on. And this is Rick Pitino. He's like, football in the pros and college has just gone like this. And a big reason for, like, when I was a kid, these star players would play college basketball for Cooper Flagg would have played minimum 2 years. So they build up, like, we've known about Nussmeier now, or DJ Lagway, or you
Klubnik.
name it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Klubnik. Like, he's another guy. I mean, he clearly pretty talented. I'm just intrigued. I wouldn't bet on any of these guys being the number one overall. I think it could be you flip a coin, right? And which is a good thing. Like, that's what you want. Ton of stars, and Arch Manning's showing up, and we know there'll be a couple guys like Joe Burrow kind of came out of nowhere. Cam Newton had one. Like, that's the thing with college football. You're going to get 2 or 3 guys like we are 100% not talking about, or maybe not even know it because they've been a backup, they've transferred, and then all of a sudden that happened to Cam Ward.
Yeah,
Not Carson. Carson Beck would be the one guy that like I'm out on. We'll see.
Nothing will rekindle those feelings that you had. I guess I don't know if you really had any feelings to begin with.
I didn't
with Carson Beck.
The rivalries, the marching bands, the upsets, Saturdays just got way more fun. College football is back, baby. Think you know the game? Put your college football knowledge to the test with DraftKings Sportsbook and turn your picks into big payouts. Live betting during the game, rivalry week odds boosts, and so much more. DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered. Here's the thing. There is no bigger game than Saturday morning. Texas, Ohio State. I understand Arch has never started a big game. Played a couple last year, but never anything like this. Ohio State lost a ton of guys to the draft. I think this Texas team, if Arch lives up to the hype, poised to win a natty, I'm taking Texas. I know it's at the shoe. I know it's a tough environment. I just think, as Earl Woods used to tell Tiger Woods, let the legend grow. That's what I would tell Arch Manning. Go win this game, cover that spread, money line, let the legend grow. And here's something special for first-timers, new customers. Bet just $5 and get 300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code John. That's code John for new customers to get 300 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
You got any big season college football predictions, bets that you like? I know you do this for the NFL a lot too, but college football, obviously. I think there's some nuggets, but I'm curious to hear, your thoughts before the season.
Yeah, I think the best value for national championship are just going to be Penn State and Clemson, given their route. I think it's a lot harder. I know Josh Pate likes Alabama, but their route is just a lot harder. And I'm a Kalen DeBoer guy. I think clearly he gets Ryan Grubb back. They could be good. That conference is really, really hard. I'd say the same thing for Texas, who seems like a no doubt about it elite team. It's just that conference is really, really difficult. And you look at Penn State, you look at Clemson. It's like specifically Penn State. I mean, look at that. I mean, LSU week 1. I mean, who knows? Maybe you get a couple guys injured against them, right? I mean, you look at Penn State, it's like they're just going to kind of cruise. So to me, that's much easier to be like peaking at the end of the season, right? And being healthier. I would say my biggest prediction in college football is that Jon Gruden will be coaching in 2026 in college. And I would be stunned if it's not the SEC. And I think the two sexy teams would be Hugh Freeze getting fired. Auburn would be interested. Arkansas, which has huge money, would definitely be interested. But to me, like LSU and Florida, like Jon Gruden's no dummy. Like if you had the opportunity to pick of all the teams that would be open, you'd rather go to LSU or Florida than Arkansas or Auburn. It just gets to you. There is a path for Florida to be good, right? Because of the quarterback. And LSU financially just might not be able to buy him out. But I think that Jon Gruden will be coaching in the SEC, and I guess you could throw Florida State if they have a disastrous season. So and that Florida State is essentially will be sooner than later an SEC program. He will be coaching in the South college football because I don't think he's ever coming back to the NFL. But you watch him with Georgia, the way he talks, like I think he's no dummy. Like he's not going to get another NFL job. I mean, the lawsuit's going on. I can't even keep up with what the hell's going on there, and I just don't think anyone's going to hire him. But college football 1,000,000% will. And I think the Southern teams too, like Hugh Freeze was like banging hookers or whatever. Auburn didn't care. Right. Petrino, these football programs in college do not care. And the other thing is John's always been a little bit of a money whore, like 10 years, 100 million though. That's what the Raiders had to get him to come out from Monday Night. Like he likes his cash. The SEC's got big money. So I would say my big who knows, college football you could convince me like 10 different teams win the national championship, make the playoffs. That's a great part about it. Jon Gruden will be coaching in 2026 college football.
I like that prediction. I think for me, my biggest prediction for this season, I think Texas A&M you get about plus 2,200, which isn't the greatest odds, but I think for the college football playoff right now, you look at the odds for DraftKings, about 15 teams are like minus, and then you have like the plus 108, plus 180 teams like the LSUs or the Ole Misses right in the middle. I think plus 220. I think Texas A&M can make the playoff this year. I think SEC, you talk about one-score games last season for the college football playoff. Ole Miss doesn't lose to Kentucky. Alabama doesn't lose to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, one of those games. I think the SEC could have got 5 teams into the college football playoff versus the whole Indiana and the ACC getting 2 teams. I think A&M with Marcel Reed. This is a guy that was splitting reps last year, dual threat guy, kind of an underrated passer. They went in the portal and they got NC State's best wide receiver. I think people forget Elko was 1 win away. They should have won that game against Texas last year for going to the SEC championship and making the playoff. So my bold prediction would be I think A&M, they're picked 8th in the SEC media pool. And they got at Notre Dame, at LSU, at Texas. They can win every other game and win 2 out of those 3. And LSU in October, they could be, panic mode. They could already have 2 losses where they're not as great as a team as they were in the back end of the season. At Texas, obviously, will be tough. And then I'm going to be at that Notre Dame game. So, again, I think if they can win 2 of those 3 games, I love Marcel Reed. Elko is going to get the defense right. I think, to me, my bold prediction, my big prediction would be A&M to make the playoff this year.
I got one. I'm just looking at the Big 12, which is obviously a tough
Fun conference.
I do think the heavy favorite last year was Utah because they were coming off dominating in the Pac-12. They had become them and DeBoer's last couple of years with Washington and Oregon like unequal. Like they had passed USC. Last year, their quarterback situation was a disaster, but Kyle Whittingham is one of the best coaches in the country. And I just think that I'm looking at their schedule right now. You can get them 6-1 to win the conference. And unlike, the SEC and the Big Ten, even the ACC, like Clemson's probably going to at most one ACC loss, potentially undefeated. Like you might be able to get into the conference championship game with two losses in conference. I just think Utah at 6-1, which is worse odds than Arizona State. There is not a soul in the country that knows anything about college football that would have told you 2 years ago that Arizona State would not only be a better program, but a year later they would be favored, have better odds to win the conference. And I think at the end of the day, if Utah and Arizona State play like 10 times, like I'm gonna take. I like Kenny Dillingham and everything Arizona State's got going, but Scadaboo was like, I mean, a generational player for the program. Like I'm just betting on Utah. I've seen him do it year in, year out with different players, random quarterbacks, and just big time dudes on defense. Like I could see Utah all of a sudden we look up they're 10-2 and they're in the Big 12 championship game.
Utah's fun because they're another team like Mateer when Arbuckle, them leaving Washington State and going to Oklahoma. Utah did the same exact thing and got Devin Dampier, and his OC from New Mexico. And Dampier is kind of that smaller 5'9" dual threat guy with a big arm. And they have a really good offensive line. Like Spencer Fano, offensive tackle, who'd be the first offensive tackle probably taken in this next upcoming class. Like, I think Utah will probably revert back after them having 8-9 years with Cam Rising back to when they had Tyler Huntley, that dual threat quarterback who's got a big arm. Like I agree with you. And they're they're gonna have a tough defense because they have Kyle Whittingham. He's more of a defensive minded guy. I agree. I think Utah, Texas Tech's weird because there's so many transfers. And we saw this with Colorado. I think Arizona State's going to win personally. They're like one of 5 teams that are favored in all their 11 games this season. The Big 12 will be interesting, but I like your call there. In terms of value, Utah feels slept on for this season.